councillors and members of the public who are here this evening, and welcome to this meeting of the Hopperton Town Council Planning Committee. I just would mention before we start that, as you can see, we have switched on the Town Council. We do record all our public meetings held in the chamber. I've also just mentioned that under legislation, members of the public can also, if they so wish, record, film or broadcast from a designated area, but I don't think we've got anybody who wants to do that tonight, so just be aware that this meeting is recorded and can be filmed and broadcast. And we'll also just explain that Planning Committee at Town can make recommendations to St Albans District Council, who are the planning authority, but we are not a planning authority and we do not therefore make the planning decision, just so that is clear to people. And we're not expecting a fire drill tonight, so very quickly, the fire exits are there on either side, but we don't anticipate needing them. We have, I think, one speaker. Are you the speaker?
Well, I'm the substitute. I think David Collins is the designated person to speak on the Stakers Court application. But if he doesn't show up, I'm willing to stand in.
Okay.
Is that allowable?
Yes. I think that's fine. I mean, the councillors, you're all happy with that? Yes, I think so. It's only that normally, where we have an application where somebody would wish to speak, we normally take it at the beginning, so you don't have to sit through the entire meeting.
Yes, that's what I understood.
But if you would you like to wait a little longer to see Mr. Collins?
I would.
Fine.
Certainly, if you could take one item at least first.
That's fine.
And if
we'll
nobody shows up, I will stand in.
That's fine.
Okay.
We'll make a start, and then if Mr. Collins
Yeah,
doesn't come, we'll revert to Plan B, as it were. Okay. First of all, can we have formal apologies for absence?
Yes, Chair. We have apologies from Councillors Cudden, Drake, and Court.
Thank you. Secondly, declarations of interest. Can I remind members of this committee that they need to make any declarations of disclosable pecuniary and or personal interests that they may have in relation to items on this agenda. So can I just ask formally if any councillor has an interest in declaring? No, I shouldn't think so. Minutes of the meetings of planning meeting held on the 30th of April and on the 16th of April. Well, I think we'll just have to take them as accurate, because I think I was present at the meeting on the 16th of April. Other than that, I don't think anybody here was present.
So they are purely for noting.
So they are purely for noting, so I think we take them as read as
Can I
accurate.
just see a show of hands, please?
Can we just show hands, please, that we're fine? Did you want to sign something?
Yes, please. If you can just sign on the inside page and date it, and then just finish at the top of the page, please, Chair. Okay.
I don't need to issue every page, do I?
You should initial every page.
Right.
Okay.
Right, sorry, bear with me, I have to initial every page. Yes.
Unfortunately.
Sorry, council, this is rather a lot to initial. And that's only the first bit. Thank you. Do we have any public questions?
No, please.
And have we received any letters of objection?
No, please.
None received. Thank you. Well, in that case, we will move on to the body of the agenda, commencing at page 31 for agenda item 6. If we just run quickly through them. The first item is reference 519-0499 at 29 Close. The officers have commented that this does meet policies of our neighbourhood plan. Councillors, are you content that we put that forward, or do you wish to make any comment? Could we just actually, can we just formally take a vote on it so we can resolve to district? Thank you.
If at any time councillors want to raise any
Yes, just
concerns, then, or, comments, please feel free to do so.
yes. Right, and moving on to the next item is top of page 32, 519-0868 at 46 Falconers Field. Any comments, councillors? I think just one small point there about a tree. Was there a point about a tree?
46, yes.
That's correct.
Yes.
Yeah, sorry,
Right.
I was just putting the other one.
Sorry,
away.
I'm going off far.
Right, yes, on 46 Falconers Field, basically they are removing a tree which is just on the front drive to make way for parking, for additional parking. Now under the terms of the neighbourhood plan we have to bring that up under policy ESD 14 as Carl actually mentioned earlier. And so I was going to ask members' permission as to whether to add an additional comment onto the one that's already added to my comments, which is basically regarding removal of small tree, and just to include that additional comment, the policy ESD 14, which is to replace the 2.
Yes, but put in, so we would seek that as a condition.
Yeah.
So,
Can I just ask, because the whilst I've done this, so referee refusal, what was the middle ground, the one where we expressed
Express
concern?
concern.
Is that overuse of express concern?
I don't know. I mean, what do you mean?
If I could, Chair, so I think what we're flagging here is actually, in the eyes of the neighbourhood plan, there is a tree being removed and there are no plans to replace it 2 for 1. However, I think the decision for the committee is that the reason why there isn't the planned 2 for 1 ratio is because the tree will be creating additional parking to ensure that the residential parking standards are at a sufficient level. So it's whether the committee deems that as suitable enough as a reason for the tree. We could, of course, put forward an express concern on the tree, but also note that the committee understands that that is due to ensuring that there's enough residential parking.
I'm with you.
So do we want to express concern, councillors?
I'm happy to go ahead with what Carl recommended.
Yeah.
Happy for that? Okay, we'll go ahead and we'll, we could just, so we have to all formally, sorry, but we do, so then we can because we need to make a formal resolution for what we put forward to the district. So we could just express concern, but express concern at the loss of a tree, but recognise that this is necessitated by the need to meet parking standards.
So just to clarify, when you say that they get rid of one tree, they've got to replace it with 2, where's there an expectation of you saying where they need to plant those 2 trees? Or
So on the development site, so no specific place on the site.
right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they can choose where they put it, or whatever even.
So this could be described as an unintended consequence of that policy within the neighbourhood plan.
Which is
Yeah.
where we'd allow certain flexibility, so use wording so it's
Yeah. So it's a loss of a tree, but it's an increase in the parking
Yeah.
space. So.
Yeah.
So you might, particularly on a more constrained
Yeah.
site, it might not would be so easy to. And we've got, are you okay with that one? Moving on, 5190382, which is part single, part two-storey front extension of alterations to openings at 10 Cranbourne Drive. I didn't have any problems with this.
Yeah.
Everybody?
Sorry, I just had one small query over the parking provision. I was a little bit concerned about the actual parking in itself. And it was just something that I was flagging up. And I just wanted if the committee wanted to make any additional comments, or if you were quite happy with the point that was made.
No,
I'm happy with the point that's made. Yes, I'm happy with the point that's made. We've made the point. Yes.
Okay, so, I mean, do you want to just say no objection, or do you want to express any type of concern regarding it, or how do you actually want to phrase the actual comment itself?
I like what you put, because you haven't actually said no objection.
No,
I think
so
I
you're
think
quite
it's-
happy to go with what?
Yes.
Okay.
On to application 5190805, 21 the Deerings, Harpenden. Perhaps I can invite councillors for their views on this.
I was concerned about the street scheme. I wondered whether we had anything clear to sort of see.
Carl, are you able to get that street
Yeah.
I have to say, I drove round
And you didn't... It's just, there are lots of little bungalows around, aren't there? It's just whether this was going to be...
Yes, although immediately adjacent to it, they are detached houses
I
on the other side.
wasn't sure.
Yeah.
I went swiftly around the Derrington.
Yeah.
There are two bungalows together.
Right.
Have a look. And then next to number 21, they are detached two-storey dwellings.
So it's similar to this.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. That's all I wanted to check, really.
Yeah.
Any other comments?
Regarding parking and so on, parking is absolutely fine on the
Yes,
site. They're
it's
providing five.
Plenty on the site. It's a reasonably big site.
It is a big
It's just the
site.
other way around. Isn't it? Like, whether it suddenly got longer.
Chair, would you like me to still get this?
Yes, if you could, yes, just a bit of a look. And I thought the design looked okay.
Yeah. I mean, when you first look at the plans, you think, oh, you know, it's small to very, very big.
Yeah.
When you actually look at the street.
But you look at the street scene, it's actually in keeping with the next door
Yeah.
other houses.
Have they been trotting around to lots of bungalows? I thought that was
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think if you, let me try and get the best view of this. So the property in question is this one with the blue.
The advances of
This one
modern
here.
Great,
technology.
isn't
Yes.
it? Great.
Oh, sorry, it's a bit slow from here to that. Right. So this is the property. These are the row of three bungalows along here. So if you were looking at these just in isolation, you'd think actually it wouldn't be in keeping. But when you look at the surrounding
But if you drive
area,
along the road,
so the property, sorry, it'll load in. So behind these trees, they are the same style properties. And if you just go a bit further down the road, so the next door neighbour directly to this property, you start to get into these houses.
yes, got you see.
Oh, yes, gotcha.
So in some respects, it's the bungalows that are no longer
Yeah,
in
Yes,
the rest of the
you
road.
could argue that they're the anomaly. Well, not exactly the anomaly now. So, but I don't think you could argue that it's out of keeping with the street scene,
Fair
with
enough.
all the development that's happened along there.
Rightio.
So in fact, the actual proposal is in line with policies.
It is in line with the bulk. It is in line with the streets.
We'll get you
streets, you know.
Yeah.
We'll get used to it.
So, what is your
Well, I'm happy now.
So is that no
Anybody else,
objection?
any comment? Councillors?
No, that's fine.
No, I think, no objection, I think we're fine with it.
Yeah.
Right, and then, I'll just say put it away. Yes, well, let's put it away. Uh, 5190875, this does not need to be required by the committee, it's a non-material amendment to existing planning permission, unless anybody wishes to raise anything. Similarly, 5190876 is a discharge of a planning condition, so it does not require comment. Everybody's happy with that? 5190893 is another discharge of conditions, so no comment required. And then we move on to 5190899, two-storey side and rear extension. Roof extension to accommodate loft conversion, front door windows, side and rear roof lights, and alteration to openings following demolition of garage at 92 Grove Road, Harpenden, which is right way up Grove Road.
Yes, this application, the roof height is remaining the same, it's having a hipped roof, so that's in favour of that. Lots of one parking space, but the driveway is going to be extended, and the 45-degree long is absolutely fine, so there's going to be no impact on that. I personally...
And the design is in keeping. So, any comments, councillors? Yes.
I was jumping the gun.
I was going to say, please do make a comment. No, that's fine. No, I drove up, then it's fine. Yeah, no objection. Six. Yes, would you... Should we take straight
Go on.
to court? No,
Yeah.
Should we go for it?
Let's go for it.
Yes.
I think I've been abandoned.
Yes. So, can we
What would you
invite
like
you to come up?
me to do? Do you want me to come and sit
Yes,
on the
can we
hot seat?
invite you to come and join us at the end of the table?
Right,
We'll just
okay.
find, which page are we on? I'm just looking for the pages. It's
42.
42, I've just got there. If you could keep
Shall I?
to broadly to sort of 3 minutes.
3 minutes. I will do my best. I will do my
Thank
best. Do you want me to kick off? Right.
Yes, if you could.
Okay, well my name is Rachel Clancy and I live at number 19 Station Road, which going up Station Road is a property immediately adjacent to the Stakers Road development. The proposal is already it has been approved that the 2 blocks of Stakers Court can have an extra floor added, which will add 8 flats to the development. And the developer has now proposed that a fresh block, which will adjoin one of the block B at Stakers Court, should be built. Now, this is what I'm objecting to quite strongly. Number one, it is 4 stories high, although the neighbourhood plan says there's a limit now of 3 stories. Exceptionally, I know you will allow 4 stories as long as it does not impact negatively on neighbours. This 4-storey block will impact quite dramatically on us. We are a relatively small house, ugly house on Station Road. We are only 2 stories high. This new block, 4 stories high, will be built probably within 6 feet of our boundary. So it will loom over us, and there will be a set of 4 windows, one on each floor, looking straight into our garden and into our bedrooms. I'm also concerned because there is a line of trees between us and Stakers Court, which are covered by a tree preservation order. The plan shows that the new block will abut these trees,
and will also be built over the root system of these trees, all covered by tree preservation orders. I do not see how these trees are going to survive. Then, finally, and I must be coming to the end of my 3 minutes, or no, 2 points.
It's right, we're not timing it.
Right, thank you. The access for the builders to actually reach the plot where they're planning to build this new block, on one side is blocked by existing garages at Stakers Court. On the other side, it's blocked because the land falls away quite steeply to Station Road at that point, so there's no access from Station Road to the site. And on the third side, it's rather inconveniently blocked by the lime trees and our house. So I do not actually see how a developer could actually physically build a block. Finally, if this block of four flats is built, that means the number of flats at Stakers Court is increased by 50%. And I do think that the parking provision will be totally inadequate for that number of extra flats. So, taking all this into consideration, I do urge the Town Council recommend that this actually should not be allowed to go ahead. And that's the end of my presentation.
Thank you very much. Thank you. We can let you return to your...
Thank you very much indeed. Thank you. And thank you for letting me speak as a Loco David Collins.
Councillor, can I invite your comments? Yes, Councillor.
Well, I'm not very happy with this one at all. I have actually had a look and gone round there. So I think the access to it is certainly a concern. The tree lane's a concern. The way it would impact the existing block, I think, is a huge consideration. I think it's overdevelopment of the site, and I can't square the parking at all.
I can't see any new parking on here. Am I missing something, or is
They are providing 4 parking spaces.
How many flats? Extra flats?
Is it
4. 4.
4 parking spaces.
How many bedrooms in the flat?
One bedroom flat.
So it would be...
So they do technically meet. Yeah. I mean, I think it's a very real issue of loss of amenity.
Yes.
Huge issue of loss of amenity to neighbours, and both in terms of the existing flats
Yes.
and adjacent property. Yes, and they're also an issue with the trees. Certainly.
Which are the trees? Are they there?
Oh, these lines.
Yeah, tree lines, yes.
And that's all the tree preservation.
Yes. Yes. Yes, I mean, they have had a tree report which seems to suggest that the trees should be okay, but I'm not a tree expert, but I still would express concern about the effect on the trees.
They're going to be really
Because
close.
they're going to be really close and they're going to affect the roots. But I think there's a huge issue with loss of amenity.
Yeah. What exactly do you mean by that?
That it will be so, if you like, overbearing
Yeah.
on neighbouring properties. It will overlook, probably take light, but if the overlooking is a particularly big issue, lots of light, and I think for the other flats probably lack of amenity space.
Well, yes, yeah.
But the big issue is overlooking.
In terms of parking, is there any some guidance on if you have 4 one-bedroom flats, you are statistically likely to have so many cars?
Unfortunately, rules don't sort of go on to statistics, they go on...
No,
yeah,
but I mean, there's any sort of like...
No, not really. I don't think there are any actual statistics on that. Yes,
Not
I
only-
mean whether you could have a one-bedroom flat with 2 people, each
Then
of whom have a car.
So
Yes.
you could actually have...
So you could, in fact, be short on parking spaces.
I think they are already short on
I don't think they are already. So,
Well,
yes,
it's-
so although they're saying they're putting in 4 extra spaces, if you don't have enough spaces in any case, it's slightly fudging the issue.
Of course, you can't park on the road.
No, you can't park on
No,
Station
no,
Road.
you can't.
So I would be,
Well, you can.
well, yeah, but with difficulty and not on a lot of it. I mean, my reaction, councillors, would be to refuse
Bike shed or bin.
on the basis
store. You're right,
of loss of amenity
Check.
and to express concern that in fact the parking, inadequate parking and the effect on trees, but I would refuse on the basis of the loss of amenity.
Yes. Where does that come in the actual neighbourhood plan?
It's more
It's
covered
that-
by the
yes.
involvement.
That's going to be more covered by that one, yes. And with policy
Page.
72.5.
page, I don't know, it's
No,
policy
policy.
72.5,
Little 5.
little 5.
Which
Seven.
is on,
And I think he is
it's on page 115.
I can't remember, I haven't got mine with me, but I know the policy number.
Oh, well, I mean, yeah.
Can I just say that councillors can cover the root protection areas and the trees both with the local plan under policy 74
Yes.
and also
Under
the
ESP
neighbourhood
14.
plan, yeah.
And
What page is that on?
that's page 42, page 42. This is one tree.
Trees and hedges.
Yes.
So, Chair, if I may,
Yes, I was going to, oh, sorry.
I was just going to suggest just the exact wording. That
Yes, I was just,
I think
I would,
put my hearing
yes.
on it. So I think if it's okay, you review the starting point of the, so it's clearly a recommend refusal. The first part I think would be useful to refer to the neighbourhood plan policies in the first instance. So I think you're referring to ESD 14, the trees, specifically the line that says unacceptable loss or damage to existing trees,
Yes.
given the proximity to them and
To-
potential risk of the roots.
Yes, and I think, yes, I would make sure you mention the proximity to the roots. It's
Yeah.
not just trees, it's the roots you're damaging.
Yeah. So, and then the second reference within the neighbourhood plan, you could cover H5 on page 49, which is around higher density development, where we do say that we would consider higher density development, but no taller than 3 stories in height unless in exceptional circumstances. So you may not deem that there is exceptional circumstances to allow 4 stories.
What would it,
Wait,
exceptional
also-
circumstances? We're not answering that bit, are we? 'Cause that's extra. Isn't it? But that, SADC already permitted the additional story.
Yeah.
Nothing we can do about that
We
one.
can't do anything about it, can we?
So that's additional stories on the existing blocks, I understood.
Yeah, so we can't do anything about that.
Okay. But
Yeah.
the committee isn't considering existing blocks, it's considering the new
Yes,
blocks.
okie doke.
So is the new block 4 stories? Is that what we're saying?
Yes.
Yes, right.
Gotcha.
So you could use that as a further comment.
Yes, you could use it because it's a new block,
Yes.
if you like, it's a
Yeah.
new block.
Although it's adjacent, isn't it? It's
Well, we can
very
chuck
close
it
to a
in,
building.
we can put it in, because it is a new block, so I think, and also I would point out that I think that probably from the dates, it is quite likely that previous planning permission, where we wouldn't have referred to that, predated the neighbourhood plan, so I think we can introduce it in, because it's a
Yeah.
factor.
Yeah, that's good. I was wondering if we could chuck in H9. Given,
Yes.
Yes,
yeah, they're taking a lot away of
Yes.
the amenity space.
yes.
Yeah. So, Chair, those would be the 3 that I think we were suggesting to refer to from the neighbourhood plan,
Yes.
and then in addition...
But then I
local
think in
plan.
addition we need to refer to policy
Community policy.
72.5 of the local plan
And the root protection policy.
regarding, I'd say, loss of amenity and the root protection one is in district.
Because policy 74 actually covers for future loss as well,
Yeah.
future protection.
Yeah. So, yes, so can we just formally all say that we're agreed to refuse? Thank you. And also, I just mentioned, I think you're aware of this, that we have requested a West Ward District Councillor to do a call-in.
Oh, right.
So, which means to explain that many of the decisions at district are delegated, in other words, they're taken by officers because they have so many. But if it's called in, it means that Plans North, which is the planning committee for this area, it has to be discussed and decided by councillors.
Thank you very much. Right.
You're welcome to stay, but
I can be dismissed to you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. It has been fascinating, and thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to speak and listen in. So, but I will now let you carry on on your own.
Right.
Good night. I might have to go the other way. Yes, thank you. Go.
Thank you very much.
We've done
We're on page
We're
34.
at page 34. We're at 5/19/0546. 16 Morton End Lane. Single-storey front and side extension. Front dormer windows to increase first floor habitable accommodation. Alterations to openings, new render, roof tiles, roof lights and bin store, and widening of vehicle crossover.
Yeah, I didn't feel that this actually had any impact on neighbouring properties. The single-storey extension was nearest to the neighbouring bungalow, so it was sort of, no impact at all. No trees, were going to be affected, and it was just a hedge. It's going to be reduced to allow widening of vehicle access. Parking spaces are going to go from 0 to 3.
Okay, thank you. Right. Moving on to 5/19/0641, 11 Park Avenue South. It's for minor amendments to an original application, so it doesn't meet criteria of consideration unless anybody wants to raise anything. No, okay.
He's going to look my garden.
Sorry?
He's going to look my garden.
Is it?
Yes. I would do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you need to, oh, right, in that case you need to declare an
I
interest.
think I'll declare an interest.
Could you declare, yes. I think it's is it non-pecuniary interest?
It's up to Councillor Lineker, so
Really?
essentially if you're asking my advice, I think it's
Yeah.
non-pecuniary.
It's non-pecuniary, I thought, yeah.
Personally, I think if there could be a benefit to you
Maybe a benefit.
by taking part in the decision,
Oh, right, yeah.
therefore it would be a pecuniary interest.
Right.
My advice would be.
Right.
So, okay, can we just
We'll
the three
do
of us? Oh, we're not, are we quorum?
You are for it.
We are quorum with three, aren't we? Just suddenly panic, are we quorum? Yes, we are, that's fine. Mm-hmm. 5/19/07/08, which is a non-material amendment, so it doesn't meet criteria. Required consideration, we all happy with that? Yes. We now move on to 5/19/08/48, single-storey side and rear extension, loft conversion, with roof lights and rear dormer, patio and half standing to rear at 6 Crabtree Lane. I think the only thing here is, well, I think the thing is it's just parking, isn't it?
Excuse me. Yes, parking is 2 cars. It's more or less the same as the previously reviewed application. but it met the requirements of the Harpenden Neighbourhood Plan in that integrated policies ESD1 and ESD2. So in that respect, I felt that it met our requirements regarding parking. That comes under St Albans District Council, and that's why I sort of had a little bit of a
Well, we should perhaps express concern.
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
you could express concern. Tricky. It's not easy turning down on parking.
But we're not turning down.
Well, we're not turning down, so I would go for,
Saying,
you can really only turn down on parking if it's going to create a real problem. But I think you can express concern. Can we express concern?
So are you just, can I just clarify, are you just expressing concern
About the parking?
Just the parking?
Just the parking.
Right.
I think the rest of it look fine to me, the rest of it, yes, so, yes. I think unless anybody disagrees or wants to say anything different, very welcome to do so.
To just clarify, if you say that you wouldn't reject it on the basis of parking, but that if the parking contravenes...
It's parking is always I wouldn't say it's actually a grey area. We often express concern because it's quite difficult to turn down purely on the basis of parking unless it's going to create real problems, particularly if highways haven't objected. Because you probably see it when you looked at the highways comments. If highways don't comment, it is quite difficult to reject purely on parking unless, I mean, for instance, well, I wouldn't say a particular road, you could get certain roads in Harpenden or a certain position when the fact that they might have to park on the road could be downright dangerous or create real problems, in which case you would refuse. So it's a little bit of a sort of balanced judgment.
So you don't reject on parking
necessarily,
unless there are other issues that are...
Well, you've got to, it's a bit of it's context really. It's why you need to perhaps sometimes go around and have a look, or at least look at on the street scene. And you can sometimes we've had applications in when you look at where they plan to put the parking, and you can see it's just plain downright, or there isn't parking, and it's just going to be plain downright dangerous. Because, for instance, it might be on a corner of a business. I just one on a corner. So it's a bit of a judgment.
Right. But you've never rejected something just purely on parking?
Well, I have when it's downright dangerous, when it's going to be an issue, a real issue.
Okay.
Yes, but it's...
Chair, can I just clarify? So I think the important thing for the committee is to recognise when a policy isn't being met, which I think we will be doing in this instance. It's then the judgment call is to say, okay, how important is it that it's not being met? So that's when so you recognise that T11 isn't being met. You know, does that in this case mean it's a refusal because it's a significant issue, or is it just a less of an issue, so we express concern? So the important thing is that I think the committee always recognises when a policy hasn't been met, but then the kind of the firm decision on what that means is then to the committee.
It's a judgment call, and as always, when you look at any of these, context is everything, or the location.
And this one isn't meeting policies of St Albans District Council Policy 40, particularly, at all, in fact, because the additional bedroom provision has gone from 3 to 4, and they're only providing 2 parking spaces.
So we can express...
They should have 3 parking spaces for a 4-bedroom house. So in that respect, it certainly doesn't. Regarding the neighbourhood plan, T11 is for new build, isn't it, Carl?
Yeah.
So therefore we have to refer to St Albans District Council.
So we will express concern, and then it will be, this will probably be I would guess this will be a delegated decision probably at district, so they will take a view.
Okay.
Thank you. Sometimes it's a bit of experience because it is a bit getting used to the locations and getting your feel and thinking, but it comes. Yes, so could we just, I think, express concern? Are we minded? Yes, that it doesn't meet policy 40. 190864 is certificate of lawfulness, so we don't need to comment on that. And 190869 is the discharge of conditions, so we don't need to comment on that. 190891, again, unless councillors wish to raise any issues with this, it doesn't really meet the criteria required for consideration. I think we've got anything there, we always go with that. Okay, well I think this is the next one we do need to look at, is 519-0896 Park Avenue South, part single, part two-storey rear extension, first floor side and single storey front and side extensions, front and side porches, loft conversion of door, window and roof lights, alterations to openings, construction of replacement double garage and rear raised patio. And it is, I would mention, and I would raise the issue that it is in the conservation area and no heritage statement has been provided. It's locally listed building.
That side conversion on the side nearest the next property, is that not awfully close to the hedge line? Is it just the angle on that?
I'm not going to yes. Well, for starters, as I say, there is no heritage statement which is required under the neighbourhood plan policy. Which policy? ESD. Can't remember the exact policy.
They're interesting people.
So for starters, it is an essential. It wasn't a vague option, it's an essential. Plus, I would personally be extremely concerned about the amount of glazing that's been put into a locally listed building. Well, as I said, right solution. So, I think Councillor, can we not go straight into recommend the few? Yes, we can go straight in. Yes, we have met. Yes.
It's confused on the floor.
Get used to.
Depends on how well they're done. Some are terrible.
Yes, some plans say minimalist, isn't it?
Yeah.
And some are so busy. You don't
Some
know
are
what you're looking at.
Aren't they?
So it automatically fails.
It fails because it hasn't got a heritage. Yes. So,
Does that then come back to us when they put in a new application with the heritage statement?
Yeah, so if it fails, it contains district council, then they can
yes.
be submitted.
Yes. But are we?
Oh, yeah.
Yes. But can we? So, but I would. So I would refuse firstly because there's no heritage statement. But I would also raise a large amount of glazing and negative impact on the Carpenter Conservation Area. I actually think that, personally, I think the design is out of keeping too.
If it was passing, I'd be worried about how close that side is to that hedgerow.
Single story, if it's a single story, they can build that actually.
But
It's the two-storey.
It's part two-storey. It's part two-storey.
If you look on the map,
It's part two-storey.
yeah,
Okay.
that looks to me like that two-storey is very close to that hedgerow.
Yeah. Well, yes. There we go. Right, we all agree, refuse.
Right, based on the comments that you just
Yes.
suggested, Chair, can I have the committee? No, you're all happy with everything that Chair?
5190594, which is demolition of conservatory and construction of a single-storey side extension and installation of rear bifold doors. I'm quite happy with the comments on all that. Oops, no objection. Yeah,
I think
I will do. 5190927, single-storey front extension, roof lights. Again, the application does not meet the criteria required for consideration. Are you all happy with that? 5191004 is a certificate of lawfulness, so again, no comment required. 5190258, another certificate of lawfulness, so no comment required. 5190917 is a discharge of conditions under planning permission, so no comment required there. 5190941 is another certificate of lawfulness, so no comment required. 5190947 is a discharge of conditions, so no comment required. 5190950, another discharge of conditions. 5190953, yet more discharge of conditions. And 5190568, it's a single part, two-storey rear extension, loft conversion, rear door window, roof light and alterations to openings at 28 Wordsworth Road, which is in fact a minor amendment to an application that's already been granted. So, committee, is the committee minded to accept that these are minor amendments and it's okay? Yes. Thank you. 5190706 is a replacement front door and canopy, side window, installation of roof lights and rendering at 103 Everstone Road. Again, this does not meet the criteria required for consideration. We'll have it here. 5190956, discharge of conditions at, it's the land at the rear of the Skew Bridge, so no comment required, okay? Yeah. 5190998, single-storey rear extension with roof light at Bramble Close. Again, the application does not meet the criteria. Okay. Sound like a little parrot. 5191016, single-storey side and rear extensions at Holly Walk, does not meet the criteria required for consideration. All happy? Yeah. 519.
Chair, if you
yes.
wish to, what you could do...
Could I just take them on block?
You could just ask the committee if they're happy to go from 519, 1050
I've been very pedantic going to every single
through
one.
to however far you wish to, and just...
Down to... we'll go down to 5191001. Are you minded to be happy with all those?
Yes.
Minded. Otherwise, I'm being very pedantic and going through every single one and I'll keep you here all night. Okay. 5191006, just to explain on the normal process, this is a planning application put in by a town councillor, and that therefore, as is the norm when a council puts in a planning application, it is not considered by this committee, and neither is it considered by district councillor at district. It's not considered by Plans North, it goes straight to the Plans Referral Committee at district consideration, and we do not comment. Just to explain that. 519-1043. No comment required, what have you. So then we move on to 519-1049, single part, 2-storey, front extension and replacement side window at 16 Magna Close. I don't know if the council's had a chance to go up there and have a look at it.
Are they only interested in the building line?
It's a very constrained site.
Isn't it?
Yes.
Yes. Basically, it's really constrained site, so I think it's overdevelopment.
Yeah.
It is out of keeping with the street scene.
Which way are they going?
It's at the end, it's a cul-de-sac basically, and that's at the end of it.
Do they want to come forward?
Yeah, the front
single
extension.
part, 2-storey front
So
extension.
presumably it's bringing it level with this property here.
2 stories.
Yeah.
Got one on the other side. Also, I didn't raise,
So the garage isn't really a garage, it's called a store. So they're not, I don't think they're providing parking.
no, I think there's a parking, I think there's a, and it's not, I think there's a, and there's not a lot of space, because it's a cul-de-sac,
Yeah.
there's a problem with parking,
Yeah.
No,
because there's nowhere to park, basically, on the road.
I was down there, so
It's the house with the red garage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They didn't make it.
It-
I think it's an
Because it's a,
overdevelopment.
yeah, consider it a cul-de-sac, then it's not going to leave a lot of parking space.
No. And well, yes, and it's very narrow, isn't it?
Yeah.
So there's, I think there's going to be, I mean, that's the case when I think there's a real problem with the parking.
And that is a footpath, isn't it, to the side of it?
Yeah, it is, yeah.
It is.
Yeah, it's not even like they could extend the opening and keep the hedge.
Yes, it is a footpath, so that, yes. Now, this is a case where I would include parking as a reason for refusal,
Yeah.
because there is a park. And it's by a footpath. I don't know what other councils feel. I think it's a bit of an overdevelopment and out of keeping with street scene.
But it doesn't contravene the neighbourhood plan? You don't have a problem with that in terms of that? Yeah?
It's on it's page 40 at the bottom.
Yeah, to be considered by the committee?
Yeah. So what's your comments based on the neighbourhood plan?
My comments were, that it doesn't meet the criteria of the SD1 and the SD2 of the Hartland neighbourhood plan, because it would be too bulky, overdevelopment, basically. And then, of course, obviously parking as well comes in as a second problem. But I just think that it's too much for the street scene, because the house is smaller than all the other houses, and the actual size of the plot couldn't cope, in my opinion, and that's why it doesn't fit in with the neighbourhood plan.
Can I just ask why you didn't put that in? Is there a particular reason?
Because I wanted the committee to have a look at it and express their view, because I'm not obviously a planning officer,
No,
and I felt that,
you wanted us to make up our own.
yes I did, yes,
Yeah.
because I might be wrong on that one, it might
Yeah.
be something
So basically inviting all of you to say what your views
Yeah.
are.
I see, okay.
Have we got any wording? I'm not sure if everybody, are we all, is everybody, or does anybody want to add anything further, or not anything really?
Well, no, I mean,
No.
if you You don't do it on whether you like it.
No, not whether you like it, it's whether you feel it's no, it's not whether you like it, it's, which is irrelevant, it's the fact that feel it would be, well basically would be, feel it would look very cramped. Not as objectively, but because it's a very constrained site.
Is there any development or work that they could do on that site that you would find acceptable?
Well, you can't
I know,
really
but I mean, it is a small plot anyway, so
difficult, but it's because you can only look at what's in front of you.
I don't see how they can develop that side without going onto the footpath for the construction work anyway. Because that side is butting right onto that footpath.
I don't think they are going forward, I think they're going just back and front, isn't it?
Well, no, so it's
how do you physically do it?
in terms of the actual work on.
Oh, I see what you
building.
mean. Yes, actually, physically how you would do it.
Yeah.
Oh, it's just
I'm not a builder.
Well, you just discuss between that, there's why you do it.
yeah. Are we agreed?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think
So
we
what do
would
we
say,
say?
I think we would recommend refusal. Firstly, ESD 1, 2, isn't it? And design overdevelopment, cramped appearance. And I think refusal on the basis of lack of parking space, given that the very limited availability of on-street parking. I mean, it's off, what do you call it, crossbar estate, which is quite tight for parking anywhere up there, but I mean, that's one, there's a load, I don't know if you know the area, there are loads of little cul-de-sacs like this off it.
Okay.
It's around Cranbourne, isn't it?
Yes, but that is, as you can see, if you just look at that, that's where, if you can't park on the drive, where do you park? Yeah, it's dangerous, isn't it?
Can you see show hands?
Yep.
Trying to park on Cranbourne is a nightmare, isn't it? Let alone the cul-de-sac.
5/19/0524, two-storey side and rear, and single-storey rear extensions, hip to half-hip loft conversion with rear dormer windows and front and rear roof lights at 30 Highfield Avenue.
Right, this one I felt met the objectives of policies ESD 1 and ESD 2. Roof lights that are included match those in the other roofs on other properties in the street. Garage is to remain. It's going to a 3 to 4 bedroom, but the driveway is being increased for parking purposes. Two-storey side extension will have no detrimental impact on number 32. The roof line matches neighbouring properties.
As far as I can see, gradually all the houses along Highfield Avenue are being just sort of altered in that sort of way. So it looks okay to me, I would say.
Me too. Yeah.
I'm happy with it, yes. Oh, right, now, that's interesting, next one. 5/19/0693, alterations to and replacement of openings at first floor offices, 9 to 10 Harvey Parade. Configuration bias, which basically is altering the windows and openings. That's that. What goes up right by adjacent to the station.
Right, so conservation area. They want to replace the old windows above Costa with new design timber windows, replacing the metal framed ones. They're different designs and infill the area where the larger frames have removed with materials to match the existing. And they want to replace the existing metal framed front door with new timber front door. And my notes are, although it would be an improvement to the building, it wouldn't necessarily match the remaining frames on locally sited buildings. So whether it's just a start to
Well, it wouldn't necessarily match the store, but it would be an improvement.
Yes,
Because it's
what's there now is
not an over attractive edifice, no, for anybody's standards, no.
I'm all right with it.
I mean, personally, I think it would offer some improvement to the appearance of the building.
Yeah, I'm also conserving things and keeping them in the character of the street scenes, but I'm not sure that anyone particularly miss the old windows. So I have no objection to
No, I mean, I don't object to it. I think, yes, it's not as if you're preserving something beautiful. I actually think going round that corner, I think it would actually improve it a little bit. Yes. Okay. Nothing. We don't object. Sorry.
Would that come under ESD3 as well, shop front? Would that be considered shop front because it's the bar?
Yes, potentially. But I think the point, if you're making no objection, you don't necessarily have to make reference.
We don't have to make any objections. We don't need to
So I think
follow this
going forward, what
with the resolution.
you might wish to do is no objection. It appears to meet the policies of the
Yes.
neighbourhood plan,
Yeah.
rather than being
Yes, I
specific
don't
about
think
which
it's.
one.
I don't think we need that. Excuse me. 5/1908. 86 is another discharge of condition. The Demonstrators Court. 5/19/1039, which is raising and alterations to roof, incorporating loft conversion with rear dormer window, front and rear roof light, single and two-storey front and rear extension, alterations to openings, rendered finish and rear patio, and new stepped access to rear garden at 7 Claygate Avenue.
I just like his name.
There's not a planning board, is
Oh,
there?
Right, okay.
What do people think?
Oh, I was fine with it.
Yes, I was the big properties on Claygate Avenue. Fine.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, right, we now move on to, oh, look, it's come back again.
Yeah, I was confused by this one.
So, well, 5/19/1065, I can't see anything changed since it last came up.
Well, I was going to ask, change of use of land, but whose land?
Well, exactly, whose land?
Yeah.
Yes, quite.
That's not been resolved, has it?
No,
That you can see from there.
no, they don't seem to have addressed these.
No.
I mean, I think that's for district to sort out, because I think they'll build, as far as I can see, if you look at them, I'm not entirely convinced that some of what they're planning is actually on their own, isn't in their curtilage. I think it's on the verge.
The verge is in, the bit would be owned by,
Public realm.
yeah.
Plus the fact that, again, I think it's an overdevelopment.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't see anything whatsoever has changed from when this previously came up
No,
to the committee and we
Yeah.
recommended refusal. I cannot see that anything whatsoever has changed.
I think it's disingenuous too to say change of use of land.
Well,
It's
yes,
not their land.
to incorporate it. Well, yes, it's an interesting way of
Isn't it?
addressing the issue.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen to be ours, yes.
So where is the land not his land?
It's,
That bit there?
yes,
Yes.
down the side, yes, that bit there. If you look at it, there is a wall which you're looking at replacing, which, if you like, marks the boundary.
Oh, right, okay.
And then, I don't, a district will have to resolve that, but I don't believe.
He owns it.
No, well, if you look, if you've got you have the wall, and then goes down to the front, and you've got a nice little bit of garden sort of curving round in front, which just happens to, I think, possibly not be used. Yes, here we go, let me show you. If you look at that,
Maybe on the wall, yeah.
actually no, that's not his.
Is that not one?
Is that it? 'Cause
It looks like,
Is it this one?
yes, it's that one.
Yeah.
Yes, well you see,
That green...
well you see where that big shrubby thing is on the
Yeah.
wall?
Round
Around there, and that bit going down the side, well I don't think that, yes, there you see the wall
Yeah,
going down,
yeah.
and then the boundary line I think would be carry on straight on down the side to the house, but then you see there bits of sort of garden and planting around the side, which I don't think are within their curtilage. So it's not entirely clear.
I don't think they made any changes.
I don't see that they've made any, I can't see there's any changes whatsoever.
No, I couldn't see any.
So I think we just leave the comments as they were previously.
I guess, Chair, the only change that would be relevant if, for some reason or that they purchased that land, but we haven't had any confirmation of that.
So, well, and also, I mean, I think it's a grey area. We're not sure who owns, but that's certainly there. So I think that's something the district have got to sort out. They must have their records and be able to check what they own. But I think, I mean, it's a change of use of land to incorporate into residential amenity space. So what I think they're saying is, oh, we'll take a bit of the verge and incorporate it into our amenity space, which is novel.
I wasn't aware that was a thing we could do.
It's not, but it's an interesting approach.
It's not possible unless they purchase the land.
Unless they purchase the land. So, I mean, I think also would say, well, I think what we said before covers it really, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Well, I suppose if we want to address change of use of land to incorporate it into residential amenity space, I think we could comment that it is not at all clear that this land referred to is in fact within the curtilage of the property, and that therefore any such change would be conditional upon them acquiring the land.
Or providing
Or
proof of
whatever.
ownership.
Which, yes, which is not strictly in a sensible way, isn't it, in planning, but I think you've got to say it. Yes.
Right, so it's not clear,
Within the property, which I don't think it is from wording, it's rather bizarre wording they've used, and that therefore any such change of use would be dependent upon the acquisition of that amenity land, proof of acquisition of that land.
Chair, could I ask, if it was subsequently confirmed that they had actually purchased that, what would the committee's view be on that change of use?
Oh, you could think they would do it anyway, but
Change of use.
Yeah, so assuming actually they own that bit of land that they're asking for a change of use, and that came forward, if it's correct as it is now, they do own it, would the committee's view be supportive of that?
Well, no, because the strip of land goes from the house next up, doesn't it? I mean, that looks like public community space to me.
Well, I think where they're looking, yes.
Did it change the street scene? Did you keep it up?
Chair, the reason I asked the question is, should you submit the recommendation resolved to refuse on that basis, and then after the meeting they were to confirm actually we do already own it?
Yes, I wasn't
is there any planning
Well-
policy that you'd want to refer to as to the reason why you wouldn't see it as a change of use other than because they don't own it?
Is there anything in the neighbourhood plan?
Well, then we would have to decide, wouldn't we, whether that would then have to be change of use, whether they wanted change of use to build on it. Well, then,
But doesn't it impact on the general
yes,
layout of the house?
yes, because the whole point
you
about
have-
it is that it is yes.
So you have a green
Yes,
space
so it is a
around,
green
which
space,
is
and
produced for general
Because at the
people.
moment it's public realm. It would also, one thing, within the context of the Alderwoodbury Crescent, it would also materially alter the street scene.
Have we got a number for that?
Not
Yes,
a
it
relevant
would come
comment,
under,
but the fact that that verge is diagonal is really annoying.
Would come ESD2, wouldn't it? Local character and heritage.
Okay. Streets are social spaces that are pleasant to use. That's pushing it a bit.
Yeah, I think it's for new roads.
Yes, I think that's pushing it. But I think you could argue that taking a verge out.
So I think it would be useful to refer to that in
Yes.
your response. Should it be the case that they do actually own it and it is
Yes.
to change of use? No.
How do you want to do that?
If
Proof of ownership is brought.
I would say that, I would say in any case, would you say in any case, would recommend refusal of the change of use of land, as it provides a public amenity space, and change of use would have a material adverse effect on the street scene. Yes.
That just closed.
Yes. Because, I mean, it's public realm. Well, it is public realm. I'm sure it's public realm. Those verges along there are.
Who cuts the grass?
Yes. Well, technically it should be highways, I think. It's not.
Okay.
Yes.
So the highways are supposed to cut the grass off there. They might not do it as often as they
Yes,
should.
it's a grey area.
Oh,
Yes,
okay.
but yes, they should do it. I think it's highways. It is highways.
Yeah, highways responsibility, although District Council previously have taken that an arrangement of highways.
But that
But unfortunately it
arrangement
varies
has
across the town, depending on the strip of
Okay.
yes,
land.
it's a little bit tricky dealing with
Okay.
Yeah.
whose
So if
responsibility.
you planted a load of bushes along there, would anybody object?
Well, there are cases of land around the town where people have actually consumed
Yes.
bits of land like that over time. So
Yeah.
if
But
someone noticed,
yes.
then they would refer to the
But
relevant
it's one
authority.
thing to plant a bush, it's another thing to actually build on it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Certainly.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean,
Are you okay on that, Lee?
Yeah.
Because I think it's, well, I suppose it wouldn't be the public realm, I still think it would be lost of amenity.
yeah.
Yes, okay. Bill? Okay, do you want me to read it back to you, or are you? Yeah?
I think we're happy.
I think we're happy.
You happy?
Happy?
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, shall I have it?
It's one of the most innovative bits of the application I've ever seen. 5/19/1085 is a certificate of lawfulness, so we don't need to comment. 5/19/1095, single-storey front and side extension, which doesn't meet the criteria for consideration. Oh, I'm going backwards. No, I'm not. They're okay. We've done Derwent Road. We're nearly there. 5/19/0674. Oh, that's an interesting one, isn't it? The replacement of grass with artificial grass at the United Reformed Church on Vaughan Road. Can I ask for comment?
And on the face of it, I don't have a problem with it.
Is it in the conservation area?
Yes, it is indeed in the conservation area.
Is it the church on the corner where the kids are?
Yes, it's one where they sell the Christmas cards.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so the kids use the,
Yeah.
there's a playgroup
It's a
there.
playgroup, yeah.
Yeah, so they don't want to have to worry about the lawn, so there's something kids to do.
I think it's really a matter of whether we have any concerns about having artificial grass in the conservation area.
No.
Well, I mean, it's
No.
actually a bit scrubby, the grass. It's a little bit scrubby, so... what the kids do, they...
How big an area is it?
Oh, gosh.
There's no right pictures.
Yeah.
Yes, it's sort of down, it runs down the side of Bourne Road.
Yes, that's what you see people anyway.
Just want to get an aerial.
Not
Can we get an aerial view first?
59.5
Just to see what it looks like from
Yeah.
above.
So it's this space here.
It's that space there.
Goes up.
Oh, so it's only a small bit of grass. isn't it?
29.5 metres by 16.4 metres.
Yeah, I think in an area that size, I don't think it makes a material difference whether it's grass or artificial grass.
Yes, so the issue of the conservation area?
Sorry?
The fact that it's a conservation area, does that not?
I don't think it does, does it?
No.
No, don't think it does. I think they may have artificial grass up over the other side of the road outside the nursery.
Oh, okay.
I'm not absolutely sure, but I think they might have a smaller area.
I know you allowed some artificial grass years back in the conservation area.
Yes, because I don't think there are any rules that say you can't.
No.
Would
Do
there
you
be
think
any,
if the only thing, sorry,
just saying, would there be any drainage issues on that? Because I'm just aware there are neighbouring properties, and I know artificial grass sometimes the water can slip off.
I haven't thought of that. I haven't spotted. Maybe we need to
I've
use
just because
all
it's the
those
slope
trees.
that I've noticed.
Yeah.
All I know is how funds would.
Could be. It is, yes, it's on a hill, isn't it?
so I think if laid properly, then it should be,
It should
it
be.
should have drainage put.
It should have it
in
built
there.
in, shouldn't it?
I think it's an important point. I think it would be difficult to pin a policy.
Yes, on that.
I think to answer your point, I think if the grass was of some sort of ecological value, then it may be
Yeah.
that you would refuse it. But given
Yes, because that was my first thought, but then I had to look at it and thought,
Yeah.
well, yes.
Not English.
No, I had to look at it and thought, well, actually, because I thought, oh, is it going to be an environmental issue, but looking at grass and how it's used,
Make life easier for them.
well, it make life a lot easier. I'm sure that's why they want to do it, to
Yeah.
make life a lot easier. And it obviously does get, because it's used for the playgroup, it does get some fair old bashing, I imagine.
It's scratchy.
Depends on the type of artificial grass.
Because I mean, it can look very good.
Yeah. We have different
Oh, yes, I do. Well,
But if it's
so-
the sandy stuff, it will not be particularly nice if you fall on it, but most of the modern stuff
Yes.
tends to be quite good.
I would imagine, because given the use of it, they will make sure it's suitable for how they use
You
it.
did use the rubber version.
Yeah. So, are we minded to say okay? Yeah, we are. We're okay, with no objections. Next three applications do not meet the criteria. Are you happy with that? Going over to page 45, 519-1105. Oh, look, it's one Kirkdale Road again. Change of use from office to one-bedroom dwelling with raising of alterations from the roof from flat to pitch to create habitable loft space and roof lights. Well, they're probably tried everything else with it.
Well, it's just going to be so small, isn't it? I mean, it's tiny. So all it's got is a kitchenette and
Yes.
something.
Well, I mean, the point I mean, there's no amenity space whatsoever.
Nothing.
And
Yes, that's what we want the roof lights for, so they can create. I don't think
it's minuscule. They haven't. This site has bounced backwards and forwards. They've tried various permutations of what they might use this building for. There is also, I think, I would also be concerned about about the parking. However, it could be argued that its town centre location mitigates against the parking.
I'm very surprised if there's enough.
I just
There
think,
are minimum standards, aren't there?
yes, there are. I just think there's absolutely no amenity space. I mean, it's minuscule.
Yeah.
I know. I mean, there is absolutely, well, it is minuscule, and absolutely, well, it's there's no amenity space, and they're going to be squished between Glen Eagles, yeah,
And the back of the now, very considerate to you.
yes.
Yes. So does it, is there anything in the plan?
I don't think it would match the street scene of the... I mean, it doesn't anyway, but I don't think it would match the street scene of the surrounding buildings. Essentially just a large shed, isn't it?
It's empty at the moment.
I think there's a...
Is it the plumbers?
no, there's some sort of, like a psychologist or something in there at the moment.
Yes.
Okay.
I go to the Great Wall for Chinese, so I
Yes,
frequently
it's
pass
also Jack,
through bottom of
but-
Kirkdale.
It has pinged back to umpty because they've been trying to find something to do with it,
But I think that's
which it really defeats almost anything.
a very mean thing.
Well, it's it's a teensy space. I mean, it is. I mean, there is. But I think the point is there is absolutely. I mean, there is no amenity space whatsoever. On the one side, you've got the parking, and on the other side, you've got the. Where does that go up to? That's a bit of road up there. Where does it go
I
up
think
to?
it's a drive.
It's a drive. Does it go
I
up
think
to?
so.
Drive to. I mean,
I can't get that. No, I don't like it.
no. It's a drive up to. Drive up to a garage.
Can we have a look from above, Carl? That might
Yeah.
tell us.
I'm trying to get
I'm trying to see this drive up to a garage. I actually cannot see what you can possibly do with that type for it.
Well, no. Knock it down and sell car parking space.
Oh, fine.
I'm just wondering where that drive goes.
This way, yes.
Oh, unless there's a yard at the back, or does it go, has that little,
Out to the back here.
has it got a yard or something at the back?
Yes, it's in the back of these.
It looks like business parking, basically.
Yeah. So you're basically going to convert a glorified house with absolutely no amenity space and nowhere to park.
And also, that must be the whole site.
Yes, that's it in its own.
Yeah.
If you're saying it's an amenity space, and you say it has none, you mean
It has none.
It hasn't got a garden?
Yeah, no garden, no space around it at all. No.
Be some feat to create a garden.
Yeah, or even
no,
with any sort of outdoor space at all.
But that wouldn't be a basis on which to not allow a flat to be built, because they wouldn't have a garden, would it?
But they could
Have
have,
public amenity space.
so they'd have amenity space, you'd have
Just
some
around
space
them.
around them, they wouldn't be just completely squished in.
I just don't think it's a viable property. I don't know if that's a reason to reject it.
But no, you have to have a
If
policy.
it's a business at the moment, and you don't want to change it from a business, then that's fair enough.
Yeah.
You want to maintain an employment in business. If it's not really a business, what is it?
Well,
I mean, it is a property that exists. So
Yeah.
and what does it become? Does it become stay as a business, or does it become a residential property? Is that
But
so there's no recommendations to be considered. Does that mean?
No, we're thinking about it. That means we need to come up with a
Okay.
view.
well, the other thing to consider is the parking. So opposite that there is 1 hour parking, as I understand it. So you couldn't park there sort of regularly, and then you'd have to park up the street in the on the road parking. But again, the on-road parking's got restrictions.
But when you say it's so close to the town centre that they don't need street parking?
Yes. Well,
Quite possibly.
I think what I would be inclined to say on that would be to express concern about the parking, and that it doesn't, in the neighbourhood plan, it doesn't meet the residential parking standards. But I think you would have to give the caveat to something to the effect that given the town centre location, however, may mitigate that consideration. I think you'd have to recognise it in the town centre, because the planning inspector would.
Are we just deciding whether or not we agree with change of use?
Yeah. Well, this is where, it's a very, but this is where we looked at this, and it's very ambivalent, because it would appear to be a change of use
Yeah.
and the planning application for one bed.
All in
It's not
one.
clear whether they're trying to do both at once.
Well, is the previous one not for the change of use? Sorry, 0944,
Yeah,
which is under consultation.
Yes, so do we not have an answer to
Noting
that
under
one?
consultation.
Maybe
Well, it says change of use from office to one bedroom dwelling.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one is for just the change of use, and
Mm.
this one is for change of use plus the alteration.
But did SADC agree to the change of use?
It's still under consultation.
Still under consultation.
So, in a sense, it's sort of slightly back front, because it's a bit odd to agree to the planning before
Yeah.
they've got the change of use.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if they
Isn't it
get
helpful to
well-
know that this is going to go from this to this?
Yeah.
It does
That
aid your
you would do,
understanding.
that you would normally do two separate. You wouldn't normally run them into each other, but I mean, it's just slightly ambivalent.
I mean, the thing is, if SADC grant the change of use, I think that the planning request in itself is reasonable. Because if it's going to be a dwelling,
That's why
then
you do it, yeah.
I think, I don't know what the rule is, but I think you have to add some kind of bedroom facility to it just to make it a viable dwelling.
We'd have to. Yeah.
On the other hand, if they don't grant the change of use, then we don't need to consider the planning application.
I think, Chair, what also might be relevant in this is policy H9 on page 50 of the neighbourhood plan, which refers to private outdoor space for residential development. So appropriate private outdoor space must be provided for all new dwellings.
What page is
Yeah.
it?
Page 50. In exceptional circumstances, in the case of flats, it may be acceptable to provide this as shared amenity space.
Yeah.
So if you were looking for a policy to link the conversation around
Yeah.
a private space, then H9 would be the
Yeah.
one.
I mean, basically, it has no amenity space.
Appropriate private.
Is there anything on the size of a dwelling?
Yeah, there are minimum standards.
Yeah,
there are
so there are
minimum
minimum
standards.
design standards, yeah.
And I'm not quite sure whether this needs to be also looked at.
Regarding amenity space.
No, immediate, no, size of dwelling.
Size.
There are minimum sizes. They would be in, I don't know which policy they'd be, they'd be, yeah. I think there are minimum standards. I think there are, I think there are. I seem
The proposed design.
seeing something that's
bedrooms,
just.
Yeah, that's the extension, is in the
Because
office
that,
space.
remember they wanted to change Harold Smith to a residential,
Yes.
and that was refused. And wasn't that because it was so small? But I don't remember what the policies were. It was a long time ago. I can't remember the policies that stood at the
It's got any dimensions at all, it's just...
No, I mean, possible they didn't create a unit small enough for them, but...
It just says that it's 40 square metres application.
Yeah, well...
How many?
40 square metres.
Given the size, it's got to be...
So they're going up quite a bit in order to get the
Yeah,
bedroom
they're
in.
going up quite a bit to fit a bedroom in the room.
Oh, look, there you are. It says the gate back up to the vehicular access.
Well, I think it's a matter of really deciding whether we want to refuse or just express concern. I mean, I'm concerned about it certainly doesn't meet H9.
No.
And I'm sure there's something in I haven't looked at it for a long time, but there's something in the local plan about amenity space as well, isn't there?
And we
I can't remember the policy number.
can't delay the decision until the CDC. Are we allowed to do that?
Until you're aware of the SADC change of use
Yeah.
side of things. Well, effectively you could, but we'd have to double check the timings of the decision that's needed on this particular.
Yeah.
My personal view is what I think we should be doing is almost ignoring the change of use thing
Yes.
and saying
And just looking at what's proposed.
if change of use was already proposed,
Are
Yeah.
you minded to?
would you be minded to support it?
Yes.
And that way it covers off
Yeah.
whatever eventuality from SADC or change of use.
In which case I would not support it.
On the grounds of...
I think it's, I don't think it's suitable for human habitation.
That's not a policy, I'm afraid.
That's what I'm saying, the change of use. How much space it's got. I could just picture some poor soul going in from the street, in the front door, and then there's a whole flat.
You perhaps would have, you remember
We
long,
had
long
an extra
years ago
shower
now,
room, so
there was an
you go in
application
the second room.
to convert the
Before we
optician,
just set a little
that little optician building,
To be fair, it's a decent shower room.
Leighton Green.
Well, don't think that was
They did a planning and it was refused, so.
I'm trying to, in my head, trying to compare it to my own flat and seeing what
Sorry?
sort of the dimensions feel like. So,
What's the square footage
Well,
of your flat?
I would
the East one.
I mean,
who knows?
I think we need to come to some sort of
Yeah.
conclusion. And we've either got to, I think it's either refuse or express concern. I think it doesn't, I think undoubtedly it doesn't meet the requirements for amenity space.
No.
And I don't think it will do under, have you found the policies in, I can't remember the policy number in District 1,
For
amenity space.
community space, is policy 70.
It'd be 70 something rather,
1.
71X, what does it say? What does it say?
It says community space around dwellings, the size of private gardens should reflect the number of persons for which the dwellings have been designed, their likely range of activities and also local residential character. Gardens may be smaller where there is public open space nearby. In the case of flats, it would normally be appropriate to provide communally shared amenity space, although ground floor flats may benefit from private space adjacent to the dwelling.
Oh, that's not very helpful.
So this is one of the policy H9 is one of the policies in the neighbourhood plan.
So I think we have to go on that.
That deliberately builds on the
Yes,
local plan.
so I think we have to go on policy H9. My personal view is on the basis of policy H9 probably refused, but I am minded to be guided by what the fellow councillors feel.
I'm minded to go with express concern, purely on the basis that I think if they do approve the change of use, then I think I can't see how this could be a residential property without having this extension. But I will go with whatever everyone else thinks. On the basis that I agree that I don't think that the change of use should be approved. Because I don't think this is suitable for a residential property.
Well, in that case, can we, Pip, what do you feel? Tricky one, isn't it?
It is a tricky one. I mean, I understand to forget about the change of use. Would it be all right? That's what you said, wasn't it? Forget about it as a change of use. Think of it as a...
So yes, if you were concerned about the district decision on change of use, then
Yeah.
you could ignore that part now and
Yeah.
consider on,
Being made
as a
into
one-bed dwelling, or is that suitable in line with the policy that you have available to you?
So in terms of this neighbourhood plan, we wouldn't be happy with it because of private outdoor space for residential. Yeah, H9.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
You're sort of got a road on a...
So
yes, the drive.
that's the drive there, and that's the tiny little, that's the boundary line there. So in the section 7 in the case of flats, it may be acceptable to say this is a shared amenity space. So we have to go by that, don't we, H9?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you have to flag that, and you would probably flag the residential parking.
And you flag the parking standards.
Okay.
So then, having flagged those two, you would then decide, how severe that is.
So you
Is it a
refuse or an
is it
express
concern?
concern. I mean, in a sense, if you, I mean, if you go down the express concern route, you then just, in a sense, you're just passing it over to district to make the final. Well, they are do anyway, but passing it over to district. Express concern. I mean, it's a tricky one because on the other hand, as well, there is a need for small one-bedroom.
They're smaller than they're small.
Small. How small is small? So I think, basically, as the case council, we've got to decide whether we want to go refused or express concern.
Can I just ask, if it was refused but the change of use was approved, would they be able to convert it as is into a residential property?
No, no, because you still need planning permission.
No, in terms of, so the building as is now, if
Yes.
the change of use was approved but the extension was not, would they be able to sell it essentially as a residential property? Put someone in as it is without making any changes?
So they'd be able to sell the fact that it has had change of use and is now suitable as a dwelling.
But
They would need to secure planning
permission, planning permission.
To make
would
any
be
changes.
But planning permission would still have to be obtained.
Provided they made changes. So my question essentially is if they got the change of use and they didn't get the extension, the existing floor plan presumably is room sized, or however they've laid it out. Would they still have to get planning permission to sell it essentially as a property? That's sort of what I'm asking.
So the generic answer is no. The specific answer to this case would be yes, because just on its current footprint, it would be unlikely to meet the minimum size of a one-bedroom dwelling.
Okay.
I think
Yeah, that was
probably the way to
Because
look
if you just did it as is, it couldn't, it wouldn't meet. No.
Yeah.
If it was 3 times the size and it was a change of use through to residential,
No.
then once they have the change of use, then if it was interior or internal changes, then they could carry that out.
Basically, you're trying to convert what is a sort of glorified hut. It's not even glorified, it's a hut.
So is there anything in the employment and retail that would apply?
Only the loss of 2 offices, and I can't see that being
Well, I mean,
significant.
an office space for...
Yes, you could, essentially.
You could express concern about loss of office space or
Yeah.
loss of...
Yeah.
Yes, you could.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a... So it's not a designated employment location, which in those areas you can't have a change of use from a B class to anything else.
Yeah.
So you couldn't use that one, but you could use it as a basis for ER1 probably, supporting Harpen's economy. So you could see that as a loss of that sort of office space.
Employment space.
And to sort that argument as well, the neighbourhood plan does support kind of the very small businesses, the one-man band type.
Yes, have this accommodation available.
Psychologists that are in there at the moment.
For them.
So that could be another reason.
And they do, and that particular group of people do, and I know they find it very difficult to find accommodation in Harpenden. So you could refuse on the basis of not agreeing change of use because there is a need for business accommodation for single or small, very small businesses. So you could refuse on that basis. Yes.
Am I correct in thinking it's half in the designated retail area for the town centre on page 29? That looks to me like half the property is inside it, half the property is outside it. The very top corner of the little map.
The town centre.
Yeah, it probably just is.
Just a bit. I don't know if there's anything we can do with that. I just thought it was something that might affect whether we could call it a shop front or something that's designated.
No, it's not retail. It's not designated. It's not.
Yeah, so
It's class C1.
No, that's fair.
It's a different designation. Are we there?
Yeah.
Yes, I think so. Well, we're sort of, so where are, yes, are we minded then to refuse on the basis that, refuse change of use on the basis that there is a need in the town to retain office space suitable for small local businesses?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's a neat sign.
I like that.
We like that.
And in addition, do you want to include points about H9 as well?
Yeah.
Parking, residential standards, okay.
Yes,
Okay,
we got that.
fine. You
Well
happy
done,
to vote on that?
Well, it's a tricky one, isn't it, really?
Well, it was a bit tricky.
Yeah.
Such a, well, it's because it's clear, and well, obviously they've been trying to find something.
Yeah.
I don't know why they don't. I mean, the obvious thing is simply to do it up a bit and have it as a unit for a sole person business, as they're using that. Because I know people like sort of physiotherapists, osteopaths or whatever, lots of sort of single person businesses. They find it extremely difficult to find an affordable location in the town centre.
I mean, you could almost even propose the development that they proposed, but put an office in the roof.
Well, yes.
Anyway,
Well,
it's
yes.
speculation of what they might
But it is
do.
an office. I mean, it is generated because you see they're running through the one trying to make it a surface. That went
I
down
remember
like
that one, yeah.
that went down like a lead balloon. Actually. That was it.
They don't like all these people talking from Chinese people.
And then he's there for 20 minutes.
Okay.
And then
Right.
you
Very quick.
parking there,
Oh,
yeah.
there are a couple of ones you need to update us on, aren't there?
That's correct, yeah, thanks, Chair. So under agenda item 7, there's 2 appeals that we flagged as part of the agenda pack. Now the reason that we've flagged these, we normally flag appeals, the reason just going in a bit more detail, we just wanted to confirm that at the time of the Town Council making our comments, we didn't have a Harpenden neighbourhood plan in place. So we wanted to flag that because through an appeal you have the opportunity to raise comments again in addition to what
As long as they're new.
Yes,
Yes.
in which case they would be because we didn't consider the neighbourhood plan. So we've just had a look at them. The first one in terms of the Eastmoor Park, which we're on page 47. So this appeal here, just to update you, at the time of putting this in the pack, we weren't sure of the current position of it. However, we've checked against it. So the appeal against this application has now been superseded by another planning application, we understand, which has gone through Plans North recently, which was granted subject to a number of conditions. So I do just want to double check this outside the meeting, but we do believe that actually this appeal will be irrelevant now, given that the Plans North have considered it.
Yes, except just for councillors who may not have met this board before, if the appeal were upheld by the planning inspectorate, then of course the applicant can then decide which plan he wishes to go for.
Yeah. So the point I was making there, Chair, is that we just need to double check the exact status of it.
Yes,
We have up until the 18th of June
yes.
to comment. So should we feel the need, having done more research, that we need to bring something to this committee meets on the 18th, so we could bring it to the next meeting and then submit the comments on that evening.
Yes.
But we just want to double check the status
No,
of it.
but I thought I would just explain on the appeal process that would happen.
The second appeal that we have on there relates to Pan Auto. So again, this was a comment that comments that we put forward when we didn't have the neighbourhood plan. In this case, what we've done is we've just double checked against the planning tool, the comments that we made previously and the comments that the district council made, in order to check whether we would think that they're satisfactory if we were looking at it with the neighbourhood plan. And having done so, I believe that they are. So there is no need for us to necessarily make additional comments. So, just to put on this sheet here, sorry, I appreciate there's a lot of text on this. So at the top here, our council's comment last time was that they were pleased with the application, but we had some concerns around the insufficient on-site parking. Now, if we were just looking at that comment alone, then we would probably want to revisit the neighbourhood plan to potentially strengthen that. I would advise. However, when you look at the reasons that the district council have refused it, the reasons they've set out, I would suggest are the very reasons that we would put in our objection, should we wish to put an objection, around the scale, height, design, which would be ESD2, the lack of affordable housing within there, and also again the provision of residential parking. So as a committee you could decide now to revisit our comments on Paneltos in line with the neighbourhood plan, or you could be satisfied that the points that are raised by the District Council sufficiently cover what we would raise anyway.
I guess it's to an extent it would be, what is that, if we feel that if we were, because we could go back now, because effectively things have changed, is whether it would, we feel we wish to reinforce the reasons for refusal.
I think our working setup fits in, and we just go on the parking.
I think, yeah, I mean, given the sort of local feeling as well around the Paneltos development, I think it would be prudent to reinforce our objection, just so that we can be sure that we've done our bit in setting out the code.
Yes, so I think we could, because it is an occasion where we are, it's not terribly often you have an opportunity that you can go back and put in a comment on a planning appeal.
So could I just suggest perhaps the following wording then, that you would resolve to add the following comments based on the neighbourhood plan. So firstly, you recognise that the Paneltos site is an allocated site within the neighbourhood plan, and so it's supported in that sense. However, recognise that just because it's an allocated site, it doesn't mean it's an automatic green light for development. The site needs to meet other planning policies in the neighbourhood plan. In this case, the committee would have concerns around the following. Firstly, the residential parking standards. Secondly, and the relevant reference. Secondly, H6, affordable housing. And thirdly, ESD2 around the scale, height and siting of the blocks.
Yes. There you go. Yes. Worth doing. Yes, I do. Yes.
Yeah. So you happy to resolve that?
Happy. Yes. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Then we've got agenda item 9, which is the weekly list of decisions planning, which is really just for noting. Have a look through. If there's anything overexciting in there. It's really just for us to note. And finally, item 10 are the tree work applications registered weekend in 25th of April. Did anybody have any tree work they wish to comment on? No. Usually leave it to them. Councillors who've not yet met this. The tree officer at St Albans District Council is Mr Branch. Mr A. Branch. It's Mr A. Branch.
Was that his name before he took the job?
That's the question. That's why it's not a full branch.
So, well, in that case,
Written branch reform.
we can call the meeting to, so the meeting is finished at 21 minutes past 9.